Good evening, everyone. This is Dayhawk, your favorite Daedric Prince, bringing to you episodes 12 of Shaman King 2021 and episodes 23 and 24 of Shaman King 01. I love these episodes. I love them a lot. And I will say this to get it like straight off the bat that I love these two versions. Normally I say, oh, one is better because blah, 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 blah. No, this time I like them both. I enjoy them both. And I just, especially that one final scene at the very end on both versions. For those who already seen it, you already know what I'm talking about. And no, it's not Yo listening to Bob and the whole the shaman fight is about to start, and yeah, not that part. Not that part. So the whole recap of these three episodes is pretty much um fighting the leader of the five, which is later to be discovered as Pylon's old master, and the final confrontation between Yo and the gang versus Tao En. And towards the end of those episodes, you get to see that feeling of acceptance and accomplishment between those two, En and Ren. So I will start with episode 12. So they made it to the entrance hall, and they assume that Tao En is behind those doors. But as soon as they open the door, you get to see these two shadows. One that looks like Ryu, and the other the leader, and you could see them. You could see Ryu getting choked by the leader of the Elite Five, I like to call. And of course, Ren and Yo attack, but they get easily beaten because the master was given these strange moves that only Bailong can use. And Manta picked it up rather quickly since he's such a fan of Bailong's and seen his work. And shortly after, it was revealed that the leader was no other than Pylon's old master. And of course, you'll be asking yourself, how can that be? We saw Pylon's master a few episodes ago and defeated Pylon, and he went back to heaven. Apparently, Tao En had taken his body and pretty much brought it back to life. It's almost like he brought it back to life, but not with his soul, because if the soul were brought back, then there was no way that the master would have shown up from heaven by Anna and helped out in defeating his old apprentice. That wouldn't make sense. So you can say that he was brought back without his soul. And so Yo, Horo, Ryu, and Ren were easily been thrown to walls, the floor. Like they were getting their asses kicked to the point where he almost gave Yo the finishing blow. But luckily, Pylon saved the day. And now you were wondering, like, how in the hell Pylon, you know, was able to rescue Yo, because the last time we saw him, he was all in pieces. Well, Tao Jun managed to revive him and put him back together again, and quickly defeated his old master. And of course, the boys were all shocked, and Ren was like, "This is how I never seen my sister get this serious and angry before," and he gets this shocked look on his face, which is kind of cute. um, and so Pylon and Ju rescues the team, so they go into the stairs and try to reach the upper levels of the castle where Tao En resides. But somewhere down the line, before they manage to reach the top, Tao En out of nowhere just appears and just drops down with his chair and his monstrous body and all that stuff. And everyone was shocked. It's like, is that your dad? He's so huge. And Yo was like, look at his mustache. Like, I never seen, like, his mustache is weird and all that, and it's just hilarious. And so, Tao En and Yo's team engaged in battle, and they were easily being beaten by Tao En so quickly. And it's later, and during this fight, you get to see Horo, Ryu, Yo, Ren, like, cuts his arms, his legs, his head even, and yet he still managed to survive and still beats them up. And they were wondering, like, how is it possible, because no human being can recover so quickly, and with Ren chopping off his head, like, he should be dead. But no, until it was later revealed that they were fighting Tao En, but the being you see before them and us, the audience, that's not his real body. That's not his real body. It's more like an oversoul, another form of oversoul. And Horo mentioned this, saying that a shaman materializes a ghost with his Furoku. So you could imagine, like, how powerful Tao En is, to have all this amount of Furoku and store it into this ghost body, and to pretty much made everybody in his whole family believe that was him all along. But he, yes and no, in a way, because his body was not his body for real. It was nothing more than a ghost or an illusion. And again, that it tells you how powerful Tao En is. After all those years maintaining that, it takes a lot of magic, or Furoku in this case. And so just after Ren managed to defeat Tao En, and then to the point where his Furoku, his oversoul, was depleted. He can no longer have his body, and he's forced to go back to his original form. And Tao En, still furious at his own son, like, why did you stray from the path? You're supposed to hate people and not trust people, because look at the family history. Looking back at the family history, like the Tao family used to be one of the top shamans in all of China, but then the people, out of fear, and ended up overthrowing them and banishing them to the far ends of China where they're at right now. And I'm sure that Tao En felt, that burden from his ancestors and all that, because he, you know, was born to believe that people cannot be trusted. That people will betray you, and the only way, and not the only way, but he wants to bring back his family's legacy to its former glory. And he thought if he can't do it, then Ren shall be the one to restore the family legacy by becoming Shaman King. And then when it was revealed to the world his human form, he strips off his robe, and you get to see him all in armor, like a little bit of armor, but mostly you could see all these tablets, these mortuary tablets. I butchered the name, I'm sorry, but these tablets around his body almost, and these tablets contains the souls of the Tao family. That's why you get to see all these mini fireballs, these blue fireballs all around. There are the ghosts of the Tao family. And I'm in my notes, so sorry for the pause. And so he uses what remains of his Fioroku, and he uses the spirits of the Tao family to form this, to unleash this, the ultimate attack. They form into this giant dragon, and unleashes the attack called the Great Tao King. And Tao Ren uses Baizong, the Baizong Golden Punch, and defeats his father right there and then. And of course, En was like, it's not over yet. I still have energy left to finish this. And then you get to see Ren's and June's grandpa and mom, and they're pretty much telling En that you lost a long time ago, and Ren is declared the winner. It's not really a contest, but the way they saw this battle from the shadows, it's like, yeah, it's done. It's over. Just accept it. And then it leads into the feast. It was more like a welcome home feast for Ren. And Yo was like, aren't you supposed to be the bad guys? And the grandfather was telling the more history about the Tao family. Like, we're not evil. It's just, yeah, it's true that we murder people, but that's the way of the times back then. Because, and to be honest, I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm an expert when it comes to Chinese history, but during those times, during the Qin, the Han, Three Kingdoms, Jin, those periods have been dreadful, because it's always been wars, constant wars, And the only way to survive, especially in government, you have to be devious. You have to like backstab people in order to survive, and that's how things were at those times. The same way the grandfather was telling you that, I mean, yeah, our history has some bloodshed, but it's the way of the times. And we used to, but the Tao family has always been the top shaman that people can come and relay their pleas, and we can help them. And that's how we were we were at the top. But for some reason the people became fearful of them to the point where they stabbed them in the back, and they got banished. They got banished, betrayed, and it sucks. It sucks. um and then it leads to the final scene, which I love so much, because you get to see Yo and the gang leave separately while Ren rides on his horse and goes back to Japan. And so you get to see Ren riding his horse, but in the background, Ren mentions like, "Dad, what are you doing here, Dad?" And you get to see him riding on his dragon, just sitting on top, and just like Ren asks him like, "What are you doing here? Do you want to fight once more?" This and that, and then you get to see Tao En throwing this sword at him, saying that this is a family heirloom. It's called Jewel Thunder, the Jewel Thunder sword, which is a family heirloom entrusted to the Tao, and given to each of the given to the one of the leaders of the Tao family. Been passed down, and Anne is giving the sword to him as a way of accepting his new path in life, accepting, he's like accepting his son overall. I'm sure deep down, even before, he always accepted his son. It's just he was too blinded, uh, blinded because he was using Ren as a tool, as a way to restore the legacy. But after everything that's happened, and seeing Ren has definitely changed, he figured, I will trust you. I'll leave you with the Tao legacy, and good luck. He actually said good luck to his son. And at the end, you get to see Ren and his father go off to the sunset, and Ren ends it with, "I promise, by these glorious lands, that, that I will succeed in this new path." And of course, it's not really truly the ending, because you get to see Yo in a music store, and you get to see the Oracle Bell doing the and giving the message that the Shaman tournament is about to begin and all that. But the true ending, in my opinion, was that scene right there. And to me, it was really beautiful, in my opinion. Leading into episodes 23 and 24, I'm just going to tell you the differences, because, again, these 3 episodes as a whole were pretty much the same thing. They're pretty much the same thing. In this episode 23, this episode was pretty much dedicated to the fight between Yo, Ren, Pylon, and the old master. Um, but it but you get to see it more in detail in this episode because there's more time, like 30 minutes, where those two kids get brutally beaten up by the old master, and you get to see Tao En using his magic to empower him, making him stronger. And of course, Manta sees these strange attacks that only Bailong can do, and mentions that, are you, it can't be, and then it's later revealed to be his old master. And just before giving Yo the finishing blow, again Bailong comes to the rescue and destroys them. Now in this version, after destroying the Master Sword corpse, Tao En becomes more furious and unleashes more of his foot soldiers, and the endless wave, like Yo, Horo, Ryu, they defeated the first wave, but the Jianxi kept on coming to the point where they had no choice but to retreat. And they kept on coming until they reached the doors to the throne room. And that's when the Jianxi stopped and they went away. So I'm guessing that Tao En wanted the Jianxi to drive into the throne room. That was the whole purpose of that. And then it ends where Tao En appears in front of front of everyone, and pretty much gives Horo and Ryu a beating, and then that's it. That's the end of episode 23. So it leads into episode 24, where again they're stunned, their attacks didn't work, and they've been thrown to walls like everywhere in that throne room. And Tao En blames Yo and his friends for corrupting him, implanting him the ways of trust, friendship, love, that sort of thing. And he blames them, especially Yo. And so Horo at this point is down. You get to see Ryu cut Tao En in half, but then all of a sudden you get to see En with his chair, with his throne, in the air. Ryu looks up, and then he gets squashed. He gets squashed like a pancake, and Bailong gets thrown into a couple of walls. And to think, with someone that size getting squished like that, you should be dead. Let's be honest. You'd be dead. Of course, this is a cartoon, and suspension of disbelief. Team Rocket has been, how many times have been blasted off? Too many to count. And in real life, you might as well be injured by the time you go from being blasted off to thrown into some unknown place without any injury. let's see. And so just when En was, after the whole squishing part and Bailong, En turns his anger to Yo, like you're the main source, and tries to attack him, but Yo got saved by Ren, and and then Ren chops his dad's head off and saves Yo, but well, scratch that. Ren chops En's head off, but then still, without a head, they get beaten. Yo returns the favor and rescues Ren. And at this point, everybody is down. And Tao En makes this final attempt to bring back Ren back to his old ways. And he said no. Ren said no, and he pretty much said to him that I'm in this new path, and I want to be in this path with friends, people that I can trust. If they betray me, that's okay, because I will not stray away from this path. So whatever happens, I'm in this path, and no one's gonna change it but me. And I thought that scene was very powerful. And the moment he said those words to him, you get to see the tattoo on his back disappear, which it didn't happen in the reboot. So he still has the tattoo on at the reboot, but in this version, the tattoo disappears off his back. And then they end up figuring out why their attacks did not work. And again, it's because of the oversoul. And Ren destroys it, and then Tao En reveals his true form along with the souls of the Tao family. So in this version, Tao En tells their family history, and you could see how scarred he is, because the way he tells the story of how his family got betrayed by their own people, who pretty much banished them for no apparent reason. I'm sure they had friends who just stab it in the back and be a part of that group where they wanted to get rid of them. You could see it in that scene, and you see tears in his eyes, and it was pretty sad. And so the same way that happened in the reboot happens here. He takes off his robes, revealing the tablets. Only in this version, the tablets are all black. In the new version, they're all gold. And with the power of with all his Furyoku and the spirits of the Tao family, he unleashes his dragon and his final attack. And same way that happened in the reboot happened here. Ren and Bailong defeated Tao En for the last time. Ren's mom and grandpa appears, declaring Ren the winner, and hosts the welcome feast. And Yo and the others are confused because they've been told that they were the villains, but no, it's not true. It's just misunderstanding. And then they eat, and you get to see in the next scene that hasn't been shown on the reboot. You get to see Tao En talking to the souls, saying that they sense that a new way is approaching, a new era, and that Tao En, his son, will light the way into the future for the Tao family. And that was a cool scene. And then the end is the same thing. You get to see Yo and his friends going back by bus while Ren rides his horse. And then Tao En appears on the dragon, gives him the sword, and flies away into the sunset. And that's the end of that episode. I love those episodes. I love that final scene, that final moment between En and Ren. Because in that final scene, you get to feel that En is, gonna be supported. Is gonna support his son by giving him the sword. It's pretty much, I trust you with our family's legacy. Good luck, and I love you, and and good luck. And that to me was a very powerful scene. So like I said earlier on, if I haven't said it, both versions of these episodes were fun. I liked them a lot. I don't know why in the reboot didn't show the tattoo disappearing. I find it to be very symbolic on the 01 version because the tattoo on his back is pretty much a symbol of everything Tao and the Tao family legacy was all about. Hatred, don't trust people, the bad, the ugly side of that family. But once Ren decided to go on this different path, a new way for the Tao family to regain its former glory and to trust people and to have friends, and that made the tattoo disappear. It made it disappear, and I find it really cool. Other than that, like I said, great episodes. I love it. And the next episodes, you get to see how officially for the first time, even though we get to see him in the scene a couple of episodes ago, but this time you get to see how for the first time and talking to Yo and all that. So I'm pretty excited about that. And so if there's anything that I miss, feel free to write in the comments below and give it a like. Thank you for making it this far. I try to have these videos short, but if there's things I want to discuss in detail, it's the reason why they're pretty long. And mind you, doing 01, sometimes I have to watch 2 episodes in order to get everything in sync with the reboot. So that's why there's sometimes 3 episodes instead of 2. And yeah, so thank you for making it this far. This is Dayhawk, and hope to see you in the next video. Be safe and have a nice weekend. Johnny!